That's the fact. And no matter how unachievable that goal or dream might be, if you keep practicing and keep working towards it, one day you get very close.
So what?
Nobody cares. Train harder.
Been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Jake Paul is now training with Tyson Fury as he prepares for a possible fight against Anthony Joshua. Fury says Jake has taken a big step forward in his career and is getting closer to his long-term goals. According to Fury, this fight is one of the biggest tests Jake has ever faced, and he believes Jake will push himself harder than ever. Fury even called the matchup a 50-50 fight, saying Jake is no longer the same YouTuber, he is now a serious, committed fighter.
And even if you don't actually achieve the biggest target in your life, you might get close to it, so it's definitely worth pursuing. But someone who doesn't have goals and doesn't have a target.
Jake Paul is in one of the most intense training camps of his career. He says he is fully focused on becoming a world champion one day. His team says Jake is training with strict discipline, improving his conditioning, and working hard to fix every weakness in his game. Jake believes all the hard work will eventually pay off and prove he is more than just a celebrity boxer.
Treated like I'm Jake Paul or a famous person. No, like they treat me like I'm trying to become a world champion, which is exactly the case.
Tyson Fury believes Jake Paul actually has a real chance to beat Anthony Joshua. Fury says Jake has improved a lot and people should stop underestimating him. He argues that Jake has become a focused, well-trained fighter who could surprise even experienced heavyweights. In Fury's eyes, Jake is dangerous, far more dangerous than fans think.
About possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's in spent force. And I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
Boxing has always been part sport and part business, and Barry Hearn made that very clear when talking about Anthony Joshua. As a veteran promoter, Hearn says Joshua should seriously consider fighting Jake Paul because boxing is driven by money. According to him, the financial rewards are simply too big to ignore. Even if some fans doubt the seriousness of the matchup, Hearn believes the payday alone makes the fight worth it. Today, big money fights shape careers, and Joshua versus Jake Paul could be one of the biggest of them all.
Should fight Jake Paul. What's your view on that, Barry?
Money. Don't be silly. You know, I mean, you're mostly sensible, aren't you?
Mostly.
Of course, we're all purists at heart, but purism doesn't necessarily pay the bills. And boxing is a money business. And the day we don't accept that and then move on, we won't understand why certain things happen.
So if that fight's there next week and it's signable and they can do Joshua against Tyson Fury next year, take the Jake Paul fight in December, go and do it.
100.
Sports analyst Simon Jordan also spoke about Jake Paul's unusual rise in boxing. He pointed out that Jake's path from YouTube entertainer to fighting world-class athletes is far from normal. Traditional boxing requires years of amateur fights and slow professional development. Jake has skipped all of that. Jordan says this is why many people criticize him. Jake's career challenges the old system, raising questions about respect for the sport and whether this fast-track style can really last.
Purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working-class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. It's not. Yeah. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work, but you're stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul. Forget Jake
Paul. A lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does. But Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddled with this, does he?
Yeah. No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last now, you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last.
Despite all the criticism, Jake Paul has undeniably brought massive money into boxing. Many fighters have earned their biggest paydays because of him. But at the same time, Jake has been accused of disrespecting boxing legends and calling out fighters in a way some consider arrogant. This creates tension in the sport. Jake brings attention and money, but he also challenges long-standing traditions, and not everyone likes that.
Want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive? Because I know that I will.
I'm so sorry for my English, but I have to. See, Jake Paul does lots of good things. He has a camp for kids where he, I guess, gives training and coaching and gloves and environment for kids in Puerto Rico. He helped lots of boxers to get the bigger purse than they deserve. He has done some good things. But, and you are kind of trying to be on his side, but then he says something like that. Like, you almost are on his side, and then he says, I want to fight Anthony Joshua and Canelo at the same night or whatever. Jake, fighting Anthony Joshua and Canelo is not fighting Tyron Woodley or 60 years old Mike Tyson with Alzheimer's. Anthony Joshua is able to literally kill you. No doubt. If his mission is to kill you on the ring, he will kill you. You lost against Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury won against you. What Anthony Joshua? What Canelo, my friend? Canelo, you would need the liver replacement after Canelo fight. I promise you. I don't know. So stop doing that shit. Do the good things you are doing, and we'll be on your side. Just stop staying.
The possible fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul is about much more than money. Analysts compare it to when Gervonta Davis fought Paul in an exhibition. Unlike Davis, Anthony Joshua is a huge heavyweight with elite experience. Experts say Joshua would treat the fight like a real professional contest, not a show or a joke. For Joshua, this would be a serious test of skill, power, and discipline.
One, yes, that's the former heavyweight champ. Why is he fighting Jake Paul? And two, why is Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line? Because someone asked me on Twitter, Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young and still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with them. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and I may be in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays them some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw and we don't have an affiliation with it. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal. So this is, again, we're talking 1 yard line, first and goal.
Journalist Gareth A. Davies pointed out the massive physical difference between the two fighters. Anthony Joshua is 6 feet 7 inches and much heavier, while Jake Paul is about 6 feet 2 inches. Davies says this size gap alone gives Joshua a huge advantage. Combined with Joshua's championship experience and technical skill, this makes the fight extremely dangerous for Jake. At the same time, the contrast in size and fame makes the matchup even more exciting for fans.
I'm not sure Anthony Joshua's going to play the game like everyone else. And it could be fairly calamitous, I think, if Joshua stepped into a ring with Jake Paul. But we're going to watch it because we want to see Jake Paul get knocked the F out. We do. Everyone wants to see it. I mean, I've even said it to him. I was looking forward to Mike Tyson him knocking the fuck out. Doesn't surprise me. He's looking for the biggest names out there, and it just shows that he's prepared to put himself on the line to promote himself.
Would it be more competitive than the Ngannou fight, in your opinion, or less?
That's a very good analogy. It's a very good comparison. Much less competitive. I mean, I think it's got to be at that level of exhibition bout. I think it's a very dangerous fight for Jake Paul. Very dangerous. He's probably got one chance to try and counterpunch. And if he catches Joshua, he might do something, but I see that as 100%.
And by myself, everyone says the same thing, and he would potentially prove all of those critics wrong. Well, yeah, he would, maybe, unless there's some funny business, right? And for Anthony Joshua, as I said, this is kind of a lose-lose, right? Because if he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? So if he beats him, he gets no credit. And if he loses, then holy can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career. The reality is, he's not going to lose. There is no way on this earth that Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. That's just a fact, okay? Look at what he did to Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou hits as hard as a Ford Escort, going 100 miles an hour or whatever that stat was. Comes from the UFC. He was the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Has a good go against Tyson Fury, but goes up against Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. Every single punch that was thrown was landed, and every punch that landed put Francis Ngannou down, okay? So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him, is going to have a chance, and not to mention the technical abilities. Let's just talk about